Hello, friends. I'm excited to be here with you today. We're going to get to talk about some really potent and auspicious things that are happening in the cosmos that are going to be bringing you new possibilities and guidance as we come to the end of 2025 and set us up really for the whole first quarter of 2026. We're going to talk about the new moon in Sagittarius, which is coming up on the 19th or the 20th, depending on where you are in the world. And then we're going to talk about the December or the Capricorn solstice, which is happening only less than 48 hours after the new moon that's happening. So that'll be on the 21st. And we've got just really beautiful energies that's coming through. And I'm really delighted to share that with you. So if you're new to my channel, I'm Maggie Ostara, and I am a human design expert focusing on embodying your human design. And I'm also a sovereignty mentor, particularly for women at midlife who are waking up to another phase and they really want to step into their sovereign purpose and power. And I do want to let you know that I'm going to be doing a half-day event on January 17th. It's a Saturday, and it's about becoming an ambassador of the future, really stepping into and embodying your human design, learning how to partner with your nervous system, being able to shed whatever might have held you back in the past. From really wanting to step into your purpose and power. So please do put that on your calendar. So let's go ahead and talk about what's happening with these alignments. We are in such an incredibly potent time here on planet Earth. I'm sure that you're aware of that. And we're all kind of leaning in and wondering, what is it for me, right? What is it for me? What is it for us collectively? And this is why I really like to work with the astrological aspects of human design and bring some astrology in, because the astrology is so potent and it's so good at guiding us right now during this time. So during this Sagittarius new moon, we have a beautiful alignment, which is very similar to what's happening at the solstice. There are a couple of things that switch, and we'll highlight those, and it is significant. But let's take a look at the sun and the earth. So the sun is in the gate 10, which is the gate of self-love. And the earth is in the gate 15, which is the gate of compassion or the love of humanity. These are both on the G center, and the G center is the center for love and lovability, identity, and direction. It's what we think of as the heart chakra. Actually, in the human design system, the heart chakra is split into two different centers. We've got the G center, we've also got the will center. But for our purposes here, we're going to focus on that G because it's really being lit up by that sun and the earth during this new moon. And then let's remember, during a new moon, the sun is always in the same location as the moon, right? That's why we can't see the moon, because it's hidden by the brightness of the sun. The moon is in the gate 10 as well. And in addition to that, we've got Mars, who is our spiritual warrior in human design when he has been released from his toxic masculine god of war ways, which we are evolving out of, and we're helping Mars to evolve out of as well, is also lighting up the gate 10. So anytime you have three activations in a gate, it's really kind of like blinking at you, like, pay attention here. Self-love. You know, when I do readings for people, and I've been in the kind of personal growth and spiritual healing realm for almost 30 years, right? And when I ask people about how they feel about themselves, how's their self-love, usually people will say, I'm working on it, which means I know it's important and it's still challenging. I really see our lack of self-love as it's not a personal thing. We experience it personally, but it's not really a personal thing. We have been so programmed into believing that we are unworthy, undeserving, not good enough, too much, too little, whatever it is, right? We are just not okay. In the more extreme cases, it's like you're bad and wrong, right? You were born sinful and you have to, try to make it up through your whole life so that you maybe be able to make it into heaven, right? That story, It's deeply embedded in our psyches. And so even if you're not a religious person or you weren't brought up in a family where that was the way the talk was, it's in the ethers, right? It's in the collective unconscious. Really, self-criticism is a normal thing. Normal meaning most of us feel that way. It's a way that we beat up on ourselves. Now, there is a piece of that which is kind of interesting, which is that our nervous system likes to be safe, right? And when it feels threat, right, it tends to contract. And we can feel threat by all kinds of things depending on our life experience. And what happens is that when we are in an environment or in a situation or talking to somebody or even having a conversation in our own minds, if we start to feel anxious, we start to have threat, right? Then the nervous system in our brain like wants us to kind of retreat. It's like, ooh, whatever that was, it wasn't okay. We want to retreat. And what happens is sometimes that gets translated into the inner critic. It's like, who are you to think you can do that? You're not smart enough. You're not strong enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not the right color or the right shape or whatever. It starts this inner dialogue to try to keep you safe, by trying to keep you from doing that thing that you're trying to do, especially when you're trying to grow, especially when you're moving into the unknown, right? That's where the brain and the nervous system get really tweaked because they like to be able to predict. That's what makes us safe. It makes us feel safe. I don't know if it really makes us safe, but it makes us feel safe. So there's this funny thing that happens for us physiologically as well as psychologically that has to do with our relationship to ourself. And when we're in the habit of treating our nervous system like an enemy, like basically something we have to dominate so that we can live life the way that we want to, feel the fear and do it anyway. That's dominating your nervous system rather than learning how to work with your nervous system, right? And then a lot of times if you feel the fear and you do it anyway, sometimes you get a big backlash. You get a migraine, you get sick, you can have ongoing chronic pain in your body, right? And that's what your body signaled to say that was too much too fast. That was scary. That was threatening. It's not just a matter of our own individual process where we learned somehow that, we're not lovable. It has to do with how our physiology responds to a changing environment, particularly if it feels threatened, which, in our world today, it's easy to feel threatened, right? 3D reality is pretty turbulent. It's pretty crazy. So a lot of times we have that, but many of us grew up with, family situations that felt threatening to us. So we kind of carry that along with us, and it can turn into this kind of inner critic. It's very hard to grow our self-love when we have this sense of something trying to beat us down, trying to keep us small, trying to say, no, don't go there. That's unsafe. So when you start to realize that that's really just a response to the unknown, very often, you can start to work with your nervous system. And that is an act of self-love when you start to work with your nervous system. So I have actually just trained in neurosomatic intelligence, and this is something I'm going to be bringing into my human design work. So that'll be neurosomatic human design. And I'm not going to go into a lot of that right now, but just to say that when we learn how to partner with our nervous system, when we learn how to really love that part of us, because it is our operating system, right? When we learn how to know what it wants, what it needs, then whole kinds of things open up for us. Vistas of possibility open up for us. So here we've got the sun and the moon and Mars, which is our agency, right? It's our spiritual warrior. It's our ability to engage with life, right? Mars is that kind of an energy. Are all saying, how are you doing with your self-love? And can you be the spiritual warrior who is brave enough and courageous enough not to say, feel the fear and do it anyway, but to go inside and to really find a way to love yourself? To realize that all of that negative self-talk is not true. It's a mechanism that at its core is really trying to do well by you. It's trying to keep you safe, right? And the more that you can get some altitude from that voice that is treating you that way, and a lot of it's subconscious, right? The more you can get altitude, more you can get distance, so you can kind of see what's happening. You can start to pull your energy out of it, the less influence it will have over you. And sometimes you just need to do a simple thing like rubbing your hands together and saying, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, sweetheart. It's okay. To let your body know it's safe to love yourself. You don't have to have all that criticism to keep you safe. During this new moon in Sagittarius, take some time to love yourself. Find a way to say, wow, how have I been in the habit of maybe beating up on myself, finding fault with myself? I know I do this. I see how fast I go into, for example, if I can't find something, right? I don't lose my keys anymore, but every once in a while I lose my phone, right? And I'm trying to go somewhere and I'm trying to get somewhere, right? And if I can't find my phone, the first thing that happens is, you're so stupid. What did you do? You should have known where it was. Like, I notice it just pops in, right? You might not have things like that. If you don't, God bless you. Teach the rest of us. But a lot of us do. And as soon as you can be like, wow, look at how I'm treating myself in that moment, and decide to stop. This is a practice you can just bring in with you. Because when you do that, you liberate yourself from a pretty, debilitating way of being with your own self. But you also open your heart in a way that it may never have been open before. And this new moon in Sagittarius and the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, summer solstice in the southern hemisphere, is all about the heart center. It's all about the G center. It's all about love. And so start with self-love because it's a really important one. But then the earth, as I said earlier, is resting on the gate 15, which is the love of humanity or compassion. We want to be able to ground ourselves in a sense of a love of humanity. And I know sometimes, especially those of us who've been concerned about what's happening to our ecosystems and the ways that certain portions of humanity have both been coercive and violent towards each other humans, but also to our earth. Sometimes we can get like, gosh, humanity is like a blight on this freaking planet. I can't believe we're the problem. We are the problem, right? I've had plenty of days when I felt that way. But the more that I really understand about our origins, and I really understand about our history, which is different than certainly what I was taught in school, I realize that all of us have been programmed into this really self-flagellating way of being. And that when we do that, we don't act well, right? We're in survival. We're always trying to just get what we need, right? Make sure everything's okay, right? We're running out of that survival energy. And when we realize even people who are coercive or violent, or even people who've made choices that have been denigrating to the earth, they've got that going on inside of them. Now, this isn't to say that's okay, but it is to have compassion for them, to realize that inside of them they are riddled with self-hatred. People don't act that way if they love themselves. They act that way when they don't love themselves, and then they try to change the outer world because the pain inside is so much. So whatever sort of perspective helps you step into compassion and to step into the love of humanity, the more you're going to get out of this particular alignment, because it's going to open your heart. If we're here hating humanity because of what we've done to the earth, which I know is possible, right? You're closing off your heart. The more that you hate yourself, you're closing off your heart, right? So we want to be able to open this up, because our heart is really our power center, right? Not the way the motors are in human design, right? But it's like another brain. I mean, in Chinese medicine, it's considered the brain, the heart, right? And it is 5,000 times more strong in its electrical force than the brain. And so a lot of what we're evolving into now is heart-centeredness, right? Leading from the heart, leading from our feeling state, from our sensations. And so we want to elevate our feelings. We want to elevate our sensations. And the ones that we feel when we're in hatred, whether it's against ourselves or other people. And I know hatred is a strong word, but I had an experience not too long ago where I was at the end of a meditation and I was inside and I was shown really this picture. It was really more of a sensation of how much I beat on myself and how I've done that my whole life, and I've done it through lifetimes. So this is something that we have inherited. It's not you. There's nothing wrong with you. Okay. There might be things you want to improve about yourself, or, right. If you find, gosh, I don't want to speak so harshly to somebody, or, I want to be more generous or whatever. Right. Of course. Sure. But that's different than really feeling like there's something wrong with you. You need to fix it. Otherwise you're not worthy. Right. Which is a story that most of us walk around with. So this is a beautiful opportunity, right, that the earth and the sun are giving us, and the moon and Mars, right, during this particular Sagittarius new moon. Let's notice that also Neptune is still in that gate 25, which is the love of spirit. It's also on the G center. And the incarnation cross, if you were to do a full mandala of this, is known as the vessel of love. It's beautiful, right? So then we have Neptune that's there, and Neptune dissolves things. Neptune is moving to the very end of Pisces, the 29th degree, and is there, and it's going to be there. So 28th, 29th degree, starting very soon and going for about 6 weeks. And Neptune is dissolving things. So you can call on Neptune and the love of spirit to help you dissolve any way that you have been beating up on yourself, any way that you have been finding fault with yourself, any way that you have even felt a little bit of that flagellation or that hatred. You can ask Neptune to help to just dissolve that. You can also ask Neptune to help you to dissolve however you feel about humanity, right? To be able to step into more compassion. Remember that compassion is one of the absolute highest frequencies we can have. So love and compassion, that's really what's being highlighted here. So I invite you to give yourself some time during this new moon. So this is happening on either Friday or Saturday, but that night, right, depending on where you are in the world. And remember that Sagittarius is very expansive. Sagittarius is like freedom. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, right? So big, right? Remember? But benevolent, beneficent, right? Very, very kind, generous, right? So Sagittarius is like that. So that's the kind of energy here, right? It's this kind of benevolence that we can bring into our sense of how we feel about ourselves and how we feel about each other and about humanity. Then 38 hours later, not even 48 hours, we have the Capricorn solstice that's happening on the 21st at 7:02 a.m. here on the Pacific coast. So you can see what time that is for you. So it's a very similar alignment. So we have the sun is still in the gate 10. The moon has moved on and Mercury has moved on. Okay, so the sun is there by itself. And then we have the earth is in the gate 15. So it's still there. And then we have Neptune is still in the gate 15. So we still have that vessel of love being lit up here on the G center. Things that I said before are also good for this, but we do have a couple of interesting differences, which I'll come back to in a minute. But here I want to just say something about the solstice. So let's remember that solstices are extremes, right? So a new moon is at the very beginning of a new lunation. Well, a solstice is at the very beginning of a whole new cycle as well, right? And so when we come to a solstice or an equinox, it's going to set the energy for the whole next season until we get to the next equinox. So here with the December one, here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's kind of like the new moon. It's like everything is, as small as it's going to get, right? The days are as short as they're going to get. And boy, they're getting cold. Right. And then we're going to have this fulcrum point at the solstice, and the days are going to start getting longer here. This is a seed point. It's a beginning point for us. And for our friends in the Southern Hemisphere, they're at the apex of their summer. And so they've built up to this brightness, and then they're at their fulcrum point where their days are going to start getting shorter and their nights are going to start getting longer. But here I'm going to focus on the north because that's where I live and it's what I know about, is that we're here kind of at this seed point at a solstice. We want to be acknowledging it and working with it like that, recognizing that it is, way more than like January 1st, which is actually kind of random, honestly. It's a created human thing to start the new year on January 1st. This is something that is in the stars and in the planets, and it's astronomical as well as astrological. And of course, indigenous people around the world have acknowledged the solstices and the equinoxes and the moons also for millennium. Right. I know my ancestors were Celts, absolutely earth-based spirituality. They totally, followed this stuff, and people all over the world did. Right. So we're just kind of leaning back into that energy and being like, okay, how do we align with what's going on here? And this, of course, is another choice point. Like, what do I not want to bring into the next cycle? What do I want to leave behind? Because we still have that energy of endings and endings. But we are going to start moving into more beginnings. And we have an ignition point that's going to happen in February, where we have both Saturn and Neptune are going to be at 0 degrees of Aries on February 20th. And that is the beginning of a whole new era. So I'll talk more about that when we get there. But just to say, we're still in this time of letting go. So you have a little more time here to be letting this go. And you can be using, again, Neptune in that 25 is still at that last degree of Pisces to help you dissolve whatever it is that I just really don't want to carry this forward into, not just in my next season, but in my life. And of course, we've been letting many things go for a long time, right? We've been doing that, and we're going to keep on doing that for a little bit. But this is another really important time when you can do that. But from a human design point of view, the most important shift that we have here from going from the new moon to the solstice is that Mercury moves into the gate 5. And so when Mercury moves into the gate 5, it creates a complete channel with the Earth in the gate 15. So then we get this whole channel goes from the G center to the sacral, okay, through the 515. So the sacral center is a center for life force energy. It's the most powerful engine in the chart, right? It's a power source for us, right? The ability to have energy to engage with life. That's what the sacral is all about. And it is now fueling the heart center, right? So we've got this beautiful definition coming into the G center and into the sacral. So if either of those centers are open on your human design chart, know that you're going to get extra energy when these get lit up. They're both defined on mine, so I'm not going to get that. But I don't have the 515, so I am going to get that particular energy. And the 515 is a really beautiful channel. It's the channel of rhythm, and it's the one that is the most associated with the living world. And it's about really aligning with the energies of the living world. So the sunrise, the sunset, the moons, the equinoxes, the solstices, right? These are all natural rhythms that are happening because of the dance, really, of the sun and the earth and the moon, right? The three heavenly bodies relating to each other. This is what's really highlighted by that 515. So let's think about this for a minute, okay? So here we are, we're at the solstice, right? We've got the gate of self-love and the gate of compassion and love of humanity are being lit up by the two most important aspects of our human design. And that compassion is now in a dynamic relationship with this gate of rhythm, the 5, creating this complete channel. And so now we have all of this power that's in the sacral center, right? This life force energy is pouring into the heart center. Right? It's coming right up here through this rhythm and it's pulsing. And again, it's giving you more energy to be able to just release the fortress that's been around your heart. Just release all the armoring that you've put around your heart, right? Which always goes back to the armoring you have about yourself, right? It always goes back there. That's the most fundamental thing. So the more that you can heal that, the more you can release that, the more then you can let go of all of that negative, if you want to just call it self-talk, but right, way that part of you treats yourself. The more that you let go of that, the more your heart is just going to expand and open. Right. And so we got this a little bit at that Sagittarius new moon, because Sagittarius is very expansive, right? Here at Capricorn is about bringing things into form. right? So here we're going to have this big Sagittarius energy, right? And it's kind of whoa, and then it's going to go into the solstice 38 hours later, right? Right there into that heart center, right there into the transition into Capricorn. And so it's almost like a slingshot, right? We're pulling this energy back. It's getting stronger and stronger, and then whoosh, goes through right here at the solstice. And then Capricorn has that energy to bring new things into form. So just know it's really worth it for you to just be paying attention to what's going on here. And I hope that you will take some notes with this, give yourself the gift of your own attention, over the weekend, be dialing into how you feel, what you need, and all of that. Okay. And just see what you want to seed for this new year that starts on the solstice, right? See what you want to see for this new era where the ignition point is in February. See what you want to seed for the life that you truly want to live and not the one that you've agreed to live. Because all of that stuff about fitting in, it's all breaking apart. You don't have to try to do it anymore. Now you get to be you. But it's up to you to decide that you want to do that. So one last piece I want to bring in here is 3i Atlas. You may have heard about it. It's an interstellar object. It's barreling through our solar system. It's coming at kind of unimaginable speeds. It's really big, and it has been making its way through the solar system. I'm not going to go into a deep dive on that. I'll put some links down below if you want to find out more about it, because like Stefan Burns he's a geophysicist, but he's also an astrologer, and he's been really tracking what's going on with 3i Atlas. So you can check out some work from him. But just to say, the sort of in 3D reality, right? NASA wants to call it a comet, but it's clearly not really acting just like a comet. And many people are saying that it is a blessing that is coming to us from outside of our solar system, which is helping to activate Venus and Mars and the Earth and then Jupiter, and helping all of us and all of these planets and the divine feminine and the divine masculine all to heal and to go into a higher octave of expression. Just to say, and this is its closest point to the Earth is on the 19th, which is the same day as this new moon. I just did another talk with a friend of mine, Lauren Jubiler, which will also be released this week. She's an astrologer and a shamanic practitioner and a Chinese medicine person. She's lovely. And I was saying, if we took all of the things that are happening, right, and we put them into a movie, we wouldn't believe it. We would be like, how can this happen? How many different alignments can be coming together in this way at this time? It's been happening all year. It's been happening the last couple of years, right? How can this ignition point be happening in fair? It's almost like a sci-fi movie or a fantasy movie or something, right? It's like you would think, oh no, that's too much. But here we are. We're living this, right? We're living this. And so if you are having any incredulity, right, you're just like, I don't know, that's just too incredible for me. I can't deal with it. It's fine. Just let it go. But do what you can to have your heart be open to receive what of the energies you're ready to receive that are coming from wherever they're coming from in the cosmos, and to let yourself be changed by what's happening in a positive way. Let yourself be transformed. Let yourself evolve, and try to let go of the white knuckling you might have about trying to hold onto things that are falling away, and just see if you can settle into becoming more comfortable with the uncomfortable nature of the unknown, and see if you can put on your ambassador of the future hat, which is why we're doing an event about being an ambassador of the future in January. To put that on and say, okay, what is it I'm going to bring forward? What is it I'm going to bring forth? What is mine to contribute to this new earth, which we are already creating, but which is coming more into form? And it's going to be coming in even stronger next year. What's my role? And then just see what might be coming to you from the light codes from the sun that are coming from the galactic center. There's just so much going on. But just remember, the most important thing is to come into your heart, to come into some stillness and to come into some quiet and to foster your own receptivity. Because there is so much coming to you as long as you're open to receive it. So, my friends, so much love to you. So many blessings for you. Blessings for you for this holy day season, however you experience it, however you decide to be with other people or be on your own. And just love yourself. Many blessings. Much love. Bye for now.